Hey guys, what's going on? I hope you all are doing good. This is a very different video than what I usually make. I usually talk about Alti, Yield Max, I talk about core investments like QQQ, SPY, SCHD, and I talk about option selling contracts and generating passive earnings with those. But this video is very different than those usual common videos. In this video, I really want your input on deciding what should I be doing. So the context to this is a couple weeks back, I was little under pressure at work and I was thinking about a condition where I've been let go by my employer. What would I be able to do in that case? Because everything is getting expensive overall, but at the same time, there is an opportunity that I see here in the stock market. The problem here is that the amount of money that I have invested, I'm heavily focused on QQQ, SPY, and SCHD. As you guys can see here, percentage wise, I have 107 shares of QQQ, which if I were to change it to my equity, so I'm invested in $63,000 in QQQ, $69,000 in SPY, and over $44,000 in SCHD. Then I also have almost $7,400 in QQQM as well, which is again another ETF for QQQ. So with that said, I have invested over $69,000 of my income in QQQ. Now, what I was planning after that is what if I've been let go? The question when it rises, I need to have an income source coming in. So I looked at other opportunities like high yield income ETFs from YieldMax and other plays. But what I see with them is that, first of all, there is a NAV erosion going on. And don't get me wrong, I have a small percentage, less than 1% invested in ULTY. The problem there, as I said, NAV erosion that I see. Then what happens is as your NAV is going down, your dividends or distributions gonna go down as well. That's what we have seen with Alti. That's what we have seen with Tesla and other ETFs by YieldMax as well. Another opportunity is to go NEOS route. So if you look at QQQI, which is a very stable high income ETF, year to date, NEOS fund, specifically QQQI, it is up over 1.68%, right? Providing almost 14% dividend yield. So this was another option. But then looking at my total account balance, so say for example, I were to liquidate all of this $230,000, what I will get for this amount of money, $230,000 is 4,299, call it 4,300 shares. Now, the problem with this is these 4,300 shares would only be paying me a really small amount every month. So these 4,300 shares, how much would they be paying? So now let's look at the distribution of NEOS QQQI and what it has been paying over the past few months. So it is little consistent around 62, 63 cents for the past 4 or 5 months. So now let's bring up the handy dandy calculator. 4,300 shares and each share is paying 62 cents is going to be $2,600, roughly call it $2,700. Would that be sufficient for me to survive? I am not sure because that is something that would not even pay my mortgage here. So I live in DC area, which has a lot of expenses, especially my living expenses are really high. So then this $2,700 won't even be able to cover my mortgage. So then what is the alternate that I can have? Now, this is where I need your input. An alternate to that is doing the same thing but by myself. And what I mean by that, I'll show you. So say for example, right now I have 230,000 US dollars in this investment account, right? So let's say if I were to go to SOXL, and this is my favorite ETF to sell cash secured puts and covered calls on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy half of the money or use half of the money that I have, close to half, let's call it 130,000 even, which will get me 4,800 shares because then I'll be able to sell 48 contracts. So at today's price, which is $27.03 per share, just investing little over half of my current portfolio value, so I have $230,000 of my own, And say, for example, if I were to keep 100,000 as a cash and I just buy 4,800 shares of SOXL at current price, this will cost me $130,000, which means next term, what I will be able to do is for the 1 month out time period, meaning on October 10th, I will open a contract by selling 48 contracts that I have bought. So I've bought 4,800 shares. So 4,800 shares, meaning I can sell 48 contracts to gain some income. What I'll do is my cost basis for $27.08 or 7 cents, whatever it was, then I will sell a little over my cost basis. So I will be collecting roughly 43 cents here, or call it 40 cents even. And then what I will be doing here, I'll be selling 48 contracts. And this bid and ask is a wide spread. So let's call it 1.4 to see if it has highly likelihood, which it has. So let's call it 1.545. Let's call it 1.5. So 1.5 won't cut it. So let's call it $1.45 per share I'll be making. So I'll be able to generate $7,000 compared to $2,700 from QQQI. And this will be again within 1 month. So this is $7,000. And if this options contract get executed, meaning the price goes beyond $27.50, then I will also be getting 40 cents per share here as well. So for 4,800 shares, let's calculate that as well. So 4,800 times 40, which is gonna give us roughly about 1920 plus 16,957, which is the premium that we will be able to collect, which is gonna give me 8,877 in passive income, basically close to what I make from my 9 to 5, right? And this is considering that I'm only using half of the money, right? Like I've used only $130,000 and not the whole $230,000. So now what am I gonna do with that $100,000 sitting in cash? What I'll be doing is I would just sit with that $100,000 on the sidelines, because if the price tank, so say for example SOXL price does not go to 27.50 or not even stays at 27 mark in 1 month, it drops down to say for example $20. What I'll do is I will put 50,000 more of that cash in buying and dollar cost averaging my way down, averaging down with my money. So then my total invested amount would be $180,000, and then my average cost would be around $25 per share. And then I can also be able to sell covered calls again at close to $25 or whatever the price is at that time. So by this way, I will be able to make over $8,000 with my own money without getting to use margin. So that is an idea that I had in my mind. I really wanted to take your input on that. What do you think about it? And do you really think that that opportunity is not just an opportunity, but this is something that can change the life of myself as well as my family members and people who are related to me? Because even if I get to keep my job, if I keep it along with this portfolio, it will help me get to $8,000 to $10,000 every single month really aggressively, because I keep on pouring in my own income that I earn from my active 9 to 5 job. So that is the idea. Give me a like, please share with me what you think about it and how do you feel about it. And I will certainly be thinking about doing or making that move before it gets too late. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys like this video. If you haven't already subscribed, please make sure to do so, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Till then, take care of yourself and people around you. Goodbye.